I've been going on. I've been making negative videos about fake assholes and ex friends and Valentine's Day and all that shit. So I'm gonna decide to make a positive video about somebody. HairMetalBrony1016 is the best friend that I have ever had. I could go on for so many reasons of why he is like the best friend that I have been searching for my entire life. He made the right decision to go on my channel thanking me for subscribing to him. Just imagine if he didn't do that in the first place. Imagine if he was too lazy to do that. Just imagine. I can't imagine my life now without him, considering a lot of my friends have came and went. Some betrayed me, some are not on the social media anymore, some are even in jail. And now HairMetalBrony came along and found the key to all that stuff. He is the best friend of mine that I have been looking for. I cannot believe that I have never had anyone more loyal than Lane Chavez, aka HairMetalBrony1016. And whenever I do feel ashamed of even calling myself an earthling of this planet because of scumbags like Chandler and several other fake assholes that I've bashed on this channel or ranted on, he comes along and makes me feel better about all that shit. He's the one that helps me restore faith in humanity after my explosive venting on the worst people in the world. He even made a banner for me after my YouTube channel was terminated. Just imagine, has any of my friends that betrayed me, other than one other person, done that before? I don't think so. Because he really is always looking out for me, whether I'm in the light or whether I'm in the dark hole. I can't believe that I found a friend that is this loyal to me. I have never felt more proud to call myself a human being because of my friend, HairMetalBrony1016. Because of assholes like Chandler Carroll, and I'm just gonna say their names, Peter, Chevy, Chris, McDonald, Jessica. I now because of those people, I always felt ashamed of even saying that I share the same species as those assholes. But now, ever since I met Lane, I am absolutely proud to call myself a citizen of this planet because of people like him. I cannot believe I've met someone as amazing, as loyal, as generous, as kind, as fucking loyal. I know I probably already said loyal, as that word is going everywhere in this video. As thoughtful and as fucking metal. And as fucking, I don't know. Just words. There's so much words that can describe this guy. The entire main six describes Lane. I absolutely love the guy. No homo, by the way. He is the reason why I would say that I am not losing faith in humanity. He would not go on and on about how I ever supposedly say things in a form of a question. He would not bitch about stupid horse shit that didn't matter anymore in the past. He would not jump to conclusions whenever I say a scientific fact. He would ask me questions like he actually wants to know what I'm talking about whenever I say a fact, and then I go into great detail with him. He doesn't belittle me when I'm upset. In fact, he tries to talk to me about my problems so he can try to lighten up my mood a bit. Whenever I'm releasing my anger and releasing my frustration on the internet, so he tries to help out for a little by talking about it with me, even if it's problems that don't concern him in the first place, mind you, which isn't a bad thing either. That's signs of a true friend. Because of him, I felt like I've made it to the promised land.
Promised land, promised land.
I felt like I've met the friend of my dreams. He absolutely understands and invests in me, in what I go through, even when they're not his problems. I start to notice that even when my rants don't concern his scenarios or his life, he watches them anyway. Just to see what I'm try to understand what I'm going through. He and I barely get mad at each other, too. He and I have built this trust incredibly significant. And when one of us are wrong, we don't belittle each other about it. We don't go into flame wars about the smallest shit we're wrong about. And when we are both super pissed off, we are there for each other. We don't put each other down or make each other feel inferior to ourselves. Since he said to me that I am the bestest friend that he has ever had, I can now officially say the same thing to him. Back then on New Year's Day of 2015, we only knew each other as metal bronies. Now, 2 years later, we now know each other more than just that. Best friends. Our friendship has evolved over 2 years. Over 2 years. I love that he is always asking me what was up when I made rant videos that have been on my mind for a long time. Yeah. Don't put your ass in the camera, okay? So yeah, even when I'm making rant videos that where my anger and my hate reach its limit, he always reaches out to me. Whenever I am insanely pissed off to death, I absolutely appreciate him doing that stuff. Kind of like how I was to my friend Julia when her dad died almost 2 years ago. She was there for me when my channel was terminated. You were there for me when I was accused of being something I really wasn't in college. And he was even there when my explosive anger towards a so-called friend didn't involve you in any arguments. Were there too. You were there for me for all those rock bottom moments. You were there for me when I felt like the straw has finally shattered the camel's spine with all these betrayals in my life. When I'm upset, he never belittles me. In fact, he condemns that kind of shit. He never makes me feel inferior to anyone whenever I am wrong about anything, or whenever I tell a fact. He never jumps to conclusions whenever I tell facts. In fact, even if he thinks I'm wrong, he will examine what I mean and he'll determine whether he's right or wrong. He doesn't belittle, he educates. I have been through a ton of conflicts since 2010 just to get to him. Hating Justin Bieber and loving Metallica, which I have on my shirt, by the way, led to someone named Risa Salmonson, who is an ex-enemy of mine and used to be a boy back then, and now she's a transgender person. Went from being a guy to a girl. Risa reuniting with the Sloth Style led me to an asshole named Brand Mortar. And meeting someone named All Hail Metal led me to Brand Mortar. And Brand Mortar led me to a comment section full of idiots that say bronies are pedophiles. And those idiots finally led me to HairMetalBrony1016. And then when I read his comment on a discussion part of a page or whatever on someone else's channel, known as Raining Blood, I decided to click on his channel to see who he was, to see what he has on his channel and shit. I say, oh hey, this guy likes heavy metal and ponies like I do, and he's got some pretty cool videos. I'm going to subscribe to him to see if he'll make any more cool videos in the future. And then he put a comment on my channel saying this. To both of us was just a mystery. The only thing we knew about each other is that we both loved heavy metal and My Little Pony. And as our friendship evolved rapidly throughout these 2 years, we now became the best friends we have ever had in our lives. Crazy how 2 years can change so much. It's crazy to think that if I never hated Justin Bieber in the first place, I don't hate him anymore, by the way, I never would have met Lane Chavez. So thankfully, I looked up Justin Bieber versus Metallica on YouTube and then eventually discovered the Sloth Style having a conflict with Risa Salmonson. And then eventually 2 years later in 2013, saw that they reunited and made up for each other and became friends. And then Risa Salmonson befriending with me on the internet, and then eventually I led myself to All Hail Metal, who then Risa, me, and him befriended each other to flag off this disgusting spamming troll named Brand Mortar. And then eventually Brand Mortar led me to HairMetalBrony. I know I already recapped this, but I'm just saying, it's crazy to think if it wasn't for my hatred towards Justin Bieber, I wouldn't be where I am right now on YouTube. I never would have met my friend Lane. I guess if it wasn't for those pathetic fights I've had, I never would have met him. I am so damn glad I met a friend of my dreams. He is able to see the good in a lot of things and people that my ex-friends were blind to. He doesn't rationalize any stupidity either. He doesn't over-sexualize things either. He doesn't over-sexualize anything that's meant to be an inside joke. In fact, he loves to join in on that stuff because he can totally examine why I think it's so funny. Such as my April Fool's jokes, which I don't really care too much to get a laugh out of anyone. My main purpose was to trick people into thinking that it was to put it in better words, was to make people fall for my joke, not to make them laugh. And then he examined why I thought the popping was so funny. He is one hell of a guy. There were the intense amount of traitors and fakes in my life until he and I made contact in the beginning of 2015. As a bonus, I am also glad he never saw the cringe-worthy chapter of me. He would have passed that off immediately in 2009 to 2010, or 2011, and the evil, hateful self I was becoming in 2014. Funny how I became friends with him when the evil in me was dying off. I just want to let people know one thing. Not all friends come from your childhood. I mean, Luke Skywalker became best friends with Han Solo when Luke Skywalker was 19. Rey met Finn when she was 19. I know, I already said that just because someone has the same likes as you doesn't necessarily make them a good person, but like I said, what I'm really trying to say is, out of all the people that I've met in my life, I never met anyone that had so much in common with me than Lane and my friend David Culpepper. Not to get confused with the David that you've seen in some of my videos. That's David Capozzo, not David Culpepper. But I know I said that you don't necessarily have to have the same likes as someone to be best friends with them, but because like I said, there are a lot of people that have the same likes as me, but are the biggest assholes in the fucking universe. You all know how I feel about that kind of shit. It is really cool that he has the same likes as me, and to be honest, back when he and I were still developing our strong friendship that was rapidly growing in 2015, despite the fact that he wasn't a Star Wars fan when he openly admitted that he'd never seen Star Wars in like the fall of 2015, I respectfully didn't shove it in his face like most people would. I didn't say that he was the stupidest piece of fucking shit in the world just because he either wasn't necessarily into that stuff or because he just never seen it. I know there's nothing in there, but there's little drops. I just simply went on with my day, and then, what do you know, he became a Star Wars fan in late 2016. I never thought he would get himself into it. So, great job on him. He saw the light side of the Force. He's my new Padawan. What I also love about him, that he doesn't force a reason to hate someone. He always tries to see the good in everyone. He feels the good in anybody. Which is why that he always comes to me whenever I'm struggling with my anger and hatred towards my ex-friends. He didn't necessarily have to talk to me about the scum of the earth known as, and the sorry excuse of a human being known as Chandler was, but I absolutely appreciate that he reached out to me when I was in explosive anger mode just like that. I can't believe he would reach out for me just like that. It is the Jedi way. I can't believe how awesome of a friend he is. Lane Chavez, thank you for not being so stupid to liken my sense of humor to a fetish, but instead you decide to give in to that inside joke. I like how you are able to understand your best friend's inside jokes too, and understand that it's not for everyone. And I love how he never dick ride the copyright law to death whenever I have copyright problems. In fact, you understand it since you actually have problems with the copyright. And in fact, I love how you don't bring up anything that's so-called political, as you don't even give a shit about politics, which is absolutely great. Every time I go to you, or anything that's heavy metal, My Little Pony, Star Wars, NASCAR, that means I'm trying to escape from all this political bullshit. And whenever I'm talking to my friends, mostly personal friends, mind you, I try to walk away from all this political garbage. And thankfully, I have friends like you to talk to whenever I want to get away from this ludicrous horse shit known as politics. And thankfully that you're not just a brony just to stay with the fandom. You like the overall show yourself. It's not just a phase too. And don't worry, Lane. I'm not gonna quote unquote grow out of My Little Pony. You have my word that I'm never gonna betray you. Whether it be as a brony or as a friend, I'm never gonna betray you. You absolutely deserve me as a friend. I cannot believe. Your parents did an amazing job raising you. Let me tell you that. Which makes me even more excited to go to Arizona to see you. You don't know how awesome it is to finally meet my best friend physically. Distance doesn't always matter. Just because you're far away from your best friend doesn't make you any less friends with someone than you are now. Distance doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're physically distant from your best friend. It's about what's in here. Your metal heart. You don't make a huge fuss about my flawful gaming either. You understand that everyone has their flaws in video games. You understand that it's just a video game too. And you understand it's a stupid thing to make a fuss about. And you understand that it's a pathetic thing to joke about. I also love how you never simplify any problems I have either. You let me vent whenever I feel the need to. That's what being a true friend is. Another thing I love about you is that you don't tell me that I'm late to getting an Xbox One. You don't care about time. Time matters not. Because at least I got it before the Philadelphia Eagles got their first Super Bowl win, right? No offense to Philadelphia Eagles fans, we all still love you. Especially you, Trent Dunham. I mean, I know you have troubles taking sarcasm seriously, but at least you don't take sarcasm seriously on purpose for the sake of belittling someone on the internet. That's a part of your Asperger's problem. I think that's what you told me a while ago. Please correct me if I'm wrong on that one. And sorry if I hurt your feelings on that one too. No, I'm actually dead serious sorry that if I really did make you upset over that one. You also don't lie to the public about how much I tell a joke once a week. You are always honest with me like Applejack. You are honest, generous, kind, loyal, and full of laughter at times too when you see what inside jokes I have. All I have to say is, Lane, with you being there for me whenever I'm at rock bottom, with you supporting me when my YouTube channel was down, all because it was flagged by some idiot anti-brony. And because of you trying to shine some light in my dark times by creating that banner, and you always reaching out for me whenever I'm in those dark times and whenever I have my anger to the max, thank you so much. Your actions speak louder than words do. This is the part where I say the songs You've Got a Friend in Me and A Friend for Life are absolutely relevant, with one song being from Toy Story and the other being from My Little Pony.
Some other folks might be a little bit smarter than I am, big and stronger too, maybe, but none of them will ever love you the way I do. It's me and you, boy, and as the years go by, our friendship will never die.
When I put my hands out and I thought I would fall, you knew what I needed and you came around to fix it all. A friend for life, that's what you are to me.
And most of all, you never put politics or religion before any of your friends. In fact, that wouldn't apply to you anyway, because you don't care about that stuff. And that is fucking awesome. Just fucking awesome. In 10 seconds flat. I'm sorry, I had to make that Rainbow Dash reference. I'm glad you also met me as Space Ferrari 248 as opposed to Gov Tracy. When I was Gov Tracy throughout 2010 to 2013, that was just a prologue to my YouTube hobbies and PlayStation Network hobbies. It was only the beginning. Space Ferrari 248 is the real me.
Can you see the real me, doctor? Whoa, doctor!
When I was a kid, I always wondered what it was like to have an older brother. Hell, I even wanted one at some point. But ever since I met History Fan 1914, I now know what it's like to have an older brother. I had an older brother. His name is History Fan 1914. It just sucks that he's not on the internet anymore. But when I was losing some friends that used to mean the world to me, but now I fucking hate them, back in late 2014 and early 2015, it wasn't who I thought it would be to save me from anger. It was you, Lane, and History Fan 1914. It was you that saved me from sadness from those assholes. Thank you. Thanks for looking out for me. I owe you one. Han Solo reference. It was you, Lane, that saved everything. You and History Fan. Thank you. And of course, Lane, without you, I wouldn't have been introduced to a lot of bands, such as Dawkins, Spell Blast, and Spell Blast, what else? Queenstrike, well, I already knew about them beforehand, but I just didn't invest in them. Sabotage, Great White, Man of War, a whole bunch of bands. I could go on for so long about how many bands you've introduced me to, but hopefully I named some great examples. However, I knew some of these bands beforehand, but I just didn't bother investing into them until you suggested me some songs by them. In case you guys want to know how far Elaine and I have come as friends, think of this as a bonus. He's going to the same race as I am at the track called Phoenix International Raceway. He'll be sitting right in front of me at the same track. That's how far we've evolved. And even when he's having a huge rage about idiocy and bullshit on Call of Duty, I don't put him down. Because I absolutely understand why he gets extremely pissed off at Call of Duty, because I had the same experiences on Call of Duty as he did, with all that kinds of bullshit that he got on that game. So, even if you're not a friend of him, no one should have any room to put him down for just that. And most of all, you're not a bigot, you're not a homophobe, you're not a racist, and you're not an asshole towards people with disorders or disabilities. You understand all these people, too. I never met... If I were to have a remix of all the friends that I have, both in my state and on the internet, well, not exactly all of them, because there's some of them are pretty... Some of my friends are conservative, extremely conservative morons, so if I had a remix of a lot of my super close friends, both in this state and on the internet, you are the outcome. You are the best friend that I have ever had in my entire life. Thanks. Keep it metal, guys. It's Space Out.